Bazala Bright keeps a photo of the last Christmas at his home in the hilly mountains of Bundibugyo. The photo reminds him of two of the most painful losses of his life. He now shares this house with his brother, not out of his own will, but distant desperation for a living.
Hano wa mukuru wange abakonje bakajja bantahira bantematema makagange na majugo na bagokya.
When the attacks in Kasese and Bundibugyo began, Bright, a resident of Bundibugyo, sent his family of 7 away to his brother's home in Kanyamwirima, which was near the army barracks for safe haven.
Mukyara wange bairuka nyo nasigara mu maka nyanike koko yange tina nyo nembahondera nyencha nembahondera bairuka n'abana.
Bright stayed. He knew he would be safe hiding in the bushes at night and returning to the now abandoned house during the day to lay out the cocoa that fed and clothed his family. Unknown to him, that move would almost cost him his own life.
Ekiro nibo bajire abatema abakonjo batandika kuntematema bampa kino kipanga mbaire ninchinge enju itingende mbya mu kisaka bantema kino okuno kutu kwahwa kurore nyuma noho gwa ntemere bagaruka bansara umero banteka mu ekiti nchatere nduru bojo nafa.
When the attackers were done with him, they left him for dead in the sprawling bushes where a fire consumed his 3 houses, and most importantly, they left scars on him that he would live with for the rest of his life. Bundibugyo and Kasese would immediately after the elections descend into a myriad of machete and club attacks, leaving families like those of Bright on a daunting search for safe places to hide.
Tohora masasi gagambrahan abantu batandika kuyiruka musozi saidi zonna enya ezehimu zirimo entalu.
Already lives have been lost. 6 lives lost. But at the end of the day, these are Ugandans.
It is unfortunate. It was caused because of the bad leadership, NRM leadership in Kasese, their conduct, their behavior towards people. It is people who decided to say that we don't want this one, now we need to get new leaders.
The attack would spread out to another 41 villages and almost 341 households. An initial report compiled by the emergency team of Red Cross showed that over 341 houses had been burnt within Bundibugyo district alone. Most of these, however, would be in Bundibuturo 2 village, a record 64 households. 67-year-old Regina Kule lived in this village. She buries her face in wrinkles of worry after her entire family was cut by attackers, save for the little nephew she now holds on to. Words don't come easily for her, and when they do, they are intoned in painful sorrow.
Kaijani babatahiro munju babatematem hado butuboine babatematemere na itu twairuka twagaruka muka twagenda mu bisaka nkamara tukamara ebire bisaka.
Regina lost almost everything in the attack.
Rutaro kumanya turutaro rutandikira abantu bange bakafa bantu basatu atazi no nkuhura baitu nkuhura ni nsasa bokuba bintu byange nkabireka emisiri yange nyagireka nkuhura ni nsasa.
She now relies on relief food aid to feed her and the little nephew that was left behind. Far beyond the language of peace building and conflict resolution, here in Kanyamwirima are the real faces of the Rwenzori conflict. Families that can't find justice for their loved ones, families that can't find food for their hunger, and families that can't return to their homes. Kasese and Bundibugyo, the two towns in which the horrific attacks played out, sit in the Rwenzori belt, a hub for beautiful sky scenery and undulating hills. The two districts have a combined population of over 900,000 people. But that is not what worries the government. Government spokespersons have end-on-end termed the conflict as a friction between the tribes that occupy the Rwenzori belt. But even more keenly, a conflict between the Bakonzo and the Bamba tribes. The conflict, they say, is on the unresolved questions on land and loyalty to cultural institutions.
There were what you call the undercurrent. There was fire which was brewing on the ground between the two cultural institutions that led to this problem.
The Bakonzo, who number at 850,646 people, are the dominant tribe under the Rwenzori kingdom that spans across both districts and peers into the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Bamba, who are 42,559, are predominantly in Bundibugyo under the leadership of recently recognized Bamba. These figures mean that for each Mwamba, there exists at least 19 Bakonzo. The Kasese district, where Bakonzo predominantly live, spans out onto 2,724 square kilometers of land, for which 32%, an estimated 885 square kilometers, is reserved for East Africa's biggest game park, the Queen Elizabeth National Game Park. In succinct land terms, this means that for each square kilometer of land in Kasese, there are 377 people. Kasese is also home to large government-run cotton farms, the Kilembe mines, and military establishments that eat into its land usage. Bundibugyo, where the Bamba predominantly live, spans onto 848 square kilometers of land. Given the population, this means that for each square kilometer in Bundibugyo, there are 264 people. Both figures lie way above the national average of 148 people per square kilometer of land. It's in this fight for land that the politics of the deadly Rwenzori conflict takes shape, in even the ugliest of ways. In the months leading to the election, local intelligence officials would prepare month-on-month reports for the police chief Kale Kaihura, indicating and alleging that there was a local recruitment drive focused on what they called, quote-unquote, creating the Yira Republic. The allegations were made even more brazen by the warring kingdom of Bamba.
Should stop misguiding people towards a dream that's not achievable. People are using an advantage of politics to bring in their other agendas which are not political. People are being misguided. People are being given information that's not true.
But the kingdom of Rwenzori says the Yira state is made up to disintegrate the kingdom and set it on a crash collision course with the government.
For us, we know that that is not the way a country or a state is acquired. But if those very people that it is in their own mouth, state, Yira state is, if they know that that is how it is being awarded, then they award it to us.
Munotwara kambari kitakari ya Uganda no kato muyera republic toriyeji uriyo kuzumu tikiribaho orukukizamu nakyegiramu kandi nja kugenda nakyo.
In understanding the endless conflict in the Rwenzoris, two theories are prominently deployed by government and scholars: the theory of its tribes and the theory of its loyalty to the leading opposition party, the Forum for Democratic Change. In the just concluded election, Kasese alone scored all its 6 seats for the FDC party, ousting even the powerful Defense Minister Crispus Chiyonga, who'd been in parliament for over 30 years. The Kasese election results, which would be declared almost 48 hours after voting and much later than most parts of the country, would come at a hard-fought cost. Thirteen-year-old Muzamil Kule, a schoolboy, would bear these costs.
The police ya mana record je itore ya record na ingebya mumoko bakenda ga yuno murambo mukenga nyara banyarwanda.
Kules would become the first body in tens more that would be swallowed up by the conflict. And to the grave, both civilian and policemen alike followed him. At the peak of the horrendous killings in the mountains emerged this clip, a shocking video of armed officers shooting at stick-wielding civilians. Kale Kaihura, the police chief, in an immediate press conference following the shooting, told the press that over 30 people wielding machetes had attacked the police.
They stabbed Special Police Constable Mbusa Joel, critically injuring him and disarming him of his firearm. So nobody should downplay this, because some people are saying, oh, you know, they were shot, you know, that video which was being shot. But they were not armed. What do you mean? They were armed. They were armed. Otherwise, how do we have our soldiers being in a critical condition?
That attack happened here. The village is yet to recover from the incident. This journey up the hill is one of the most painful journeys 47-year-old Chachimwa Jetu has had to undertake in the last month. One can only find out the pain that sits deep on her heart when they reach the summit of this seemingly endless hill. It's the grave of a man whom she committed 24 years of her life to, giving him 9 children and her entire future.
Anama haruk bito mwakasinga ndibukao twama butabana abanama bama bya mwetu.
The man Jetu speaks of is this one, a man recorded being shot dead as he tussled with the police when they fired bullets in the village. His name was Kake Saleri, a volunteer royal guard with the Rwenzori kingdom. Part of his duties included hoisting the royal flag and guarding the cultural sites and subjects of the kingdom. This is the job that he died doing. Together with him was Musarire Jokas, a 32-year-old farmer whose father now combs back the dried banana leaves that he'd covered his grave in. He hopes that one day the ends of justice will allow him to come to terms with the death of his only son. His wife is yet to settle with the fact that he won't be around to look after their 4 children.
Abanangwe baba banabona sebawuteka bayamba sebawutu buli kintu cyusi bro mwana manzo mugati mbrama nzo kisale sebawutonga ko bakache bana.
In understanding almost every conflict, there are 2 sides of the story. But like the proverb goes, only the victor gets to write that story. In almost all the strips of the silent voices that suffer the direct repercussions of war are the deep brown cries for justice, peace, and reconciliation that are voiced on the pains of many hard times each family has had to cope with.
Bamanyere bantu twasibaga nabo buli kiro banaiba.
Hakuba ni mbaro. Nkubaganyira bokuba no babaita owange takugaruka. Owanga kamara kufa kikawa. Nobo aita hano tebuda kusaba kiganyiro kumuganyira.
In almost every conflict, two questions are asked: the question of justice and the question of peace. As Mike Mukula's Commission of Inquiry gets underway, two questions will stand out. Whose justice will he be looking for? The justice for the people in the refugee camps, or the justice for people in the offices?
Nobody will be falsely prosecuted. Justice denied is justice delayed is justice denied, especially for those who have suffered and those who have committed the crime.
The sun in the Rwenzori mountains still sets every morning, shining a light on the millions of faces that have their homes in this place. But yet again, it buries within it the silent voices of war. Raymond, Mujuni, NTV.